The world has always believed that human beings control their destiny. But on one terrifying morning in October 1962, we discovered something darker: that a single mistake, a single misunderstanding, could wipe out life itself. This is the story of the Cuban Missile Crisis, the closest the world has ever come to nuclear destruction. A moment when the fate of billions rested on a handful of decisions made by frightened men behind closed doors. To understand this day, we must go back to the roots. After World War II, two superpowers emerged: the United States and the Soviet Union. Both were powerful. Both were afraid. Both believed the other wanted dominance. And fear, when mixed with power, becomes one of the most dangerous forces on Earth. In 1959, a young revolutionary named Fidel Castro overthrew Cuba's government. The United States was furious. Cuba, a small island just 90 miles from the American shore, had suddenly become communist. And when the US tried to overthrow Castro in the failed Bay of Pigs invasion, Cuba turned to the only power big enough to protect it: the Soviet Union. Behind the scenes, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev made a bold and deadly decision. He secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, missiles that could reach Washington, New York, and major American cities in minutes. Missiles so close that the United States had no time to react. Then came October 1962. American U-2 spy planes took photographs: long, dark missile sights stretching across Cuban fields. President John F. Kennedy looked at the images and realized something chilling. The balance of the world had shifted overnight. If he waited too long, the missiles would become operational. If he struck too quickly, he might start World War III. For 13 days, the world held its breath. American battleships surrounded Cuba. Soviet ships sailed toward the blockade. Bombers sat loaded with nuclear weapons. Submarines hid beneath the ocean, waiting for orders. And in both Washington and Moscow, men tried to look strong even while trembling inside. But the truth is this: neither side wanted to die. Neither side wanted to push the button. Both sides realized that pride could destroy the human race. And in the most critical hours, secret letters passed between Kennedy and Khrushchev. Slowly, painfully, a path appeared. On October 28, 1962, the Soviets agreed to remove their missiles from Cuba. The United States promised not to invade Cuba and quietly removed its own nuclear missiles from Turkey. Nothing was won through victory. Everything was saved through restraint. This crisis reveals powerful lessons about humanity: that nations often act out of fear, not hatred; that conversations behind closed doors can save lives; that sometimes strength is not in fighting, but in stepping back. The positive side of this event is clear. Leaders found courage not to fight, courage to think. They prevented a war that could have erased civilization. But the negative side is equally important. It showed how fragile peace really is, how the world can sit on the edge of destruction without ordinary people even knowing, how a few decisions made by a few men can determine the future of every child on Earth. And why does this matter to our lives today? Because nuclear weapons still exist, because nations still argue, because leaders still face choices between pride and peace. And the difference between survival and disaster still depends on wisdom, not power. The Cuban Missile Crisis is not just history. It is a mirror, a warning, a reminder that human life hangs on the decisions we make, the conversations we hold, and the courage we choose. History is not old. History is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Fidi,